The Kona wind now actually blows into the mountain. And so if you're coming down the mountain with the wind coming off the water, the course plays opposite.
We're joined by the voice of the beginning of the golf season, Mark Rolfing from Hawaii. Mark, thanks for being here in the drop zone.
Great to be in the drop zone, and I can't wait to get the season started. As you say, it's interesting. I was all in a huff when we started the wraparound season, as they call it. I guess, I don't know how many years ago, 6 or 7 maybe. But when you talk to the players and you read all the stuff about it, this is the start of the season. It's the beginning of January, and it's become a must accept invite. There were 40 guys that qualified this week, and 39 of them accepted, which is just a remarkable field. But the biggest difference that I've seen, you guys, is that not half the players are on vacation anymore. It used to be half guys were serious, half the guys were kind of coming on vacation and bringing families and doing this and that. And it is all business now. I've never seen so many players come as early as they did. There's a lot of guys out practicing already the weekend before.
Why do you think that they've changed their perception of it?
Small field. It really is a great chance to get kick-started, and everybody's now seeing how important it is in this FedEx Cup to get off to a good start. If you get too far behind, you're really in a box. But the other thing that's causing it is we're going through this climate change out here. You used to be able to sort of play the plantation course by memory because it played the same all the time. It was a trade wind that blew from the northeast and kind of blew down the mountain, and so all the elements were going the same way, and you knew how it was going to play. And so it's taking a lot more work, not to mention the fact that, oh, my heavens, they can't use green hooks. And, that's really causing people to have to do more work, I think, than they typically have in the past coming to this event.
I wonder, Mark, if you could take us back to the beginning of your involvement with TV broadcasts and with this event in particular.
Well, I have played my way right out of the competitive game in the late 70s. I played in the Hawaiian Open that year, I think it was 1976, and we just ended up not leaving. And so I was here for a while, started as the assistant pro. I still played reasonably well. And in the early 80s, we began a postseason event, the Kapalua International, that became wildly popular. Given that I was still playing okay, I used to give myself an exemption every year, and I played.
So wait, you were able to give yourself the exemption?
Yeah,
That's
I
nice.
gave myself the exemption. And back in the days, sponsorships weren't like they are now. And the concept of giving away a car on a par 3 wasn't a concept that, happened. And somehow we concocted a deal where the sponsor put up a car on the 17th hole. So of all the players in the field, who do you think won the car? Well, I did. And that was quite an upset, and everybody knew it, and caused quite a commotion. And they brought me up to the 18th tower. Vin Scully was the host, I'll never forget, and Trevino, the analyst. And Lee thought it had been fixed because he and I had played a lot of golf together. My wife and I are godparents of his 2 kids. Anyway, I ended up staying in the booth for about 10 minutes, and the producer of the show called me that night at home and said, "Hey, why don't you come back to the booth tomorrow and do an appearance?" And I said, "Yeah, no matter what I shoot." And he said, "Yeah, you got great local knowledge and all that." So anyway, I came back. I thought, why would people listen to me? Back then, there was no Gary McCord. There was no David Faraday. You had to have won a major to be an analyst. Somehow I made it through it. And the next thing you know, they offered me a job. And that is literally how I got this job. I'm going to walk up that tower at 18 and get into that booth and put on the headset. And that's going to be my 37th year that I have done that. I just can't believe that this has all happened.
Do you have any particular memories of working with Vin Scully?
I can't tell you enough stories about Vin. Everybody said, "Oh, Scully, how's he going to do that? He's not that good at golf. He's a terrible golfer." I was just amazed at how he could weave in these stories. He never got out of his comfort zone. He can do analysis when he's doing baseball play-by-play, but he didn't do any of that with golf. And that was what was great, because he would just immediately go, "Let's go down to Mark," and we'd have a conversation. It was fantastic. Vinny taught me a lot. There is not a nicer man in the world than Vin Scully, I'll tell you.
Do you do a Vin Scully impression?
No, I can't do one. Who could possibly do that?
I've never been to Hawaii. And I know that there are multiple winds that are named certain ways. I know that you are pretty avid about the winds. Well, how does Kona Winds get you so excited? It doesn't make sense to me.
When we built the golf course, I was involved in the beginning here 30 years ago. And it was really Bill Cora and Ben Crenshaw's first big design. We studied rainfall and wind charts from the old pineapple fields that were up there. And it was so consistent. Over 300 days a year, there were trade winds. When a Kona wind came, which was from the opposite direction, the southeast or the southwest, the course played totally differently. We had designed all the long holes to basically go downhill downwind. So they would play a little shorter with the normal elements. The Kona wind now actually blows into the mountain. And so if you're coming down the mountain with the wind coming off the water, the ball isn't going to roll out and the holes are going to play really long. So the course plays opposite is the way, plays backwards is what Max Homa told me. It doesn't play any harder. It actually plays easier, I think.
What?
Yeah, I think it does. Because if you think about it, if you have slope, wind, and grain all going the same way, that can be pretty severe. It can be very bouncy and tricky and quirky. But when the wind blows into the slope, it kind of neutralizes everything and softens it up. I think what it's telling us is that climate change is here. For whatever reason, whatever's causing it, there is climate change, and we're experiencing it here in Hawaii.
What happens when the pros leave? What happens to your life in Hawaii when all the pro golfers and pro golf tournaments are over?
I'm a little concerned about this Hawaii swing, and particularly the Sony Open. I think the PGA Tour really has to look at that. They've done a good job, I think, with the whole Saudi Arabia situation where they protected Pebble Beach and they gave releases to players. I think there's 29 of them, maybe, mandates that they play Pebble Beach, once in the next couple of years or something like that. But that doesn't help the events the week before. And if you look at the Sony Open, which is, starting with the Hawaiian Open, been a fixture on the PGA Tour for over 50 years, you can't play in Hawaii in the middle of the Pacific Ocean and then play in Abu Dhabi the next week. So it's not just the same exact week, the conflicting week. It's an event like the Sony Open.
Mark, what's something that casual golf fans that haven't been to Hawaii might not know about Hawaii golf in general, not just the professional game, but playing golf there, maybe how the locals experience golf?
First is you're going to hit the longest drives of your life. You probably will play your best golf when you come to Hawaii. And that's one of the reasons why it's so popular here. There's so much diversity amongst the courses, even on this island. When you take any one of the 7 major Hawaiian islands, there is a dry end, which is typically a flatter end. And then you get up to where the ground is higher and more on the east side, you have a tropical climate and it's wetter and windier typically. So you can come to Maui for a week, play 7 different times and think you're in 7 different parts of the world because the climates are different, topography is different, and the courses play way different. So a lot of diversity.
Dylan, I think we need to go to Hawaii.
I know. Yeah. Sold.
The natural connection between you and Tiger, for my purposes, is Jackson Park. Do we have an update on Jackson Park?
The Obama Presidential Center is under construction. We just simply weren't able to move on the golf course until the Presidential Center issues got solved, and they have. It's a 100-year-old course that needs definite work, whether or not it's Tiger Woods or Mark Rolfing or Barack Obama, that has to be fitting to, a $1 billion project that's sitting right next to it. And Tiger has been incredible. I thought there was 3 or 4 times in the last 5 years that he would walk away just frustrated because of some of the obstacles we ran into, but he is not. He is fully committed. He loves Chicago. He loves the concept of public golf and kids and all that kind of stuff. Tiger's legacy is written on the course. His legacy off the course is yet to be written. I really believe that. Jackson Park is a perfect example. He can really change an entire community, an entire place, an entire culture. Tiger Woods can do it. And I think he knows that.
That's a pretty powerful trio though there, Mark. There's Barack Obama, Tiger Woods, and Mark Rolfing. You figure one of them is going to get this thing across the finish line.
I think you're right. I'm with you on that. We will.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Mark. Have a terrific start to the season. enjoy Hawaii and keep spreading the good messages about the trade winds from where you are.
Yes.
All right,
Kona,
take care, guys.
more
Thanks for
Kona.
having me on.